Hi my lovely creatives, I really wanted to film a sketchbook tour for you today. And when I was preparing myself, I realized that I have not actually been working on my sketchbook much recently. So I'm going to film a sketchbook tour without the sketchbook. I have a drawer that I put all my sketches and loose bits and pieces of paper in. So I just grabbed a handful. This is some of them. And I'll grab a few more. The last time I filmed the sketchbook tour was after Inktober, and you can watch that video here. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure you check the other one out as well. And in Inktober, for October, I really made a drawing in my sketchbook every day, and I really dedicated my sketchbook for that. But recently I've just really liked sketching on loose bits and pieces of paper. So this is what we're going to do. So let's turn the camera around and let's get started together, and let's see what it is that I've been making recently. In this cabinet I keep lots of my artwork. So let's open the door. You can see I usually just chuck all my drawings in here that I'm working on. There's some clean fresh paper in there as well. So I'll just grab a handful out and we'll go through them and see what it is that I've been creating over the last few months. Here we go. I've grabbed lots of pieces of paper. You can see there's some sketches here, some paintings, some doodles. And I grabbed just a few handfuls out of this drawer where I keep all my artwork in. And I'm just going to talk you through it step by step, what it is that I've been doing recently. Some were for art challenges on Instagram, so some of these you might have seen sort of come by on Instagram, but I sketch quite a lot and not everything always makes it on Instagram because you don't always have to share everything you make. There's some things in there that are really terrible, and there's some things that I'm really happy about. And I think that's part of sketching, is that you can embrace your mistakes, and it's okay to just experiment a little bit. And recently I've enjoyed just painting without making any sketch. So although something is called a sketchbook, you don't always have to sketch in a sketchbook. You can sometimes paint or use markers or use something else. So let's have a look. I think this is quite a good one to start. This was a bit of paper, a bit of scrap paper that I had left, and I tested my pens here first, and then I had a little bit of space, and I made this doodle of this girl lying around. It says chill out, it's weekend, and I really like it, so I kept it. I actually keep everything I make. But I kept it, and I decided that I might use that for an illustration at some point in the future. So sometimes your own sketches can inspire you. So this is quite a good one to start with. And I use an ink pen called a Pentel brush pen. And I'll put the exact details underneath in the description. I love using my ink pen. It gives really fluid lines, and it really helps you not to be too precise, because it's a little bit clunky, but in a nice way. So it really loosens up your drawing practice. So it's something that I use a lot to make sketches with. This was a little painting that I made for an art challenge. The artist is Martief Art. I'm not sure if I pronounced this correctly, but I'll link to their Instagram underneath. Their art is absolutely stunning. This was just a quick sketch inspired by it, but it's in no way comparison to what they're making. And I had a lot of fun just looking at it and doing this draw this in your style. I find that a lot of draw this in your style challenges is sort of beautiful woman with flowers in their hair, and it was really refreshing to do an animal or a different style of drawing. This one is also from an art challenge. I just spent last Sunday, these are quite recent paintings, last Sunday sitting indoors doing some art challenges. I didn't really feel inspired to come up with my own ideas, and art challenges are a really great way of getting your creative juices flowing. So this one is from Juno Reagan. I'll link to their Instagram underneath as well. And you had to write down your favorite book, or that was her request, or their request on the artwork challenge. So I wrote down Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite books, although I can't really remember the last time I read it. It's years and years and years ago. But it's really the first book that I read that got me into fantasy. I love reading fantasy books. And do think that it's a little bit outdated in certain ways. It'd be nice if there was a few more strong female characters in it. But sort of considering when it was written, and it's wonderful to read, so I'm still very, it's still one of my favourite books. The background is blank. This was an illustration that I made recently, not based on any reference picture. I tried to sort of slowly move away from reference pictures. Over the last 3 years I've used so many references that I really just enjoy using my imagination. And what I've done is just paint it out without taking any sketches, just see where it goes. And I actually think it's really fun, little painting. The only thing is that this watering can, it looks a little bit like blood because it's red, but I really wanted to limit myself in my colour palette. You can only do so many challenges sort of at once, and painting without any sketches is easier if you only use one colour or 2 colours instead of the whole range. So that limitation actually was something that made it a bit easier for myself. So I think she's very cute. This is a style that I'm definitely exploring more recently, and you'll see lots of this in my portfolio soon. I'm doing a portfolio revamp at the moment. This is another artwork that is in that same style. This I filmed as a class for my community. So again, a painting without any sketches, lots of different bees, and you can watch the making of this as a full class on my community. It's a bit big for a bookmark, but something like this could make a really nice bookmark. Here we go. This is a tiny bit of paper. I wanted to paint these, how do you call them in English? Like snowdrops. So this is some snowdrops that I drew with my ink pen and then added some colour pencil behind it. It is a bit chaotic, but I actually really like it, and I decided to sign it as well, even though it's only a tiny picture. And on the other side, I made a drawing of a boat. Sometimes all you want to draw is just something simple, isn't it? So I decided to make this little boat on the other side. I think it's quite cute. I might add it in, if someone orders a print, I might slip it in as a little giveaway at some point, just for fun. You can't keep everything, right? This is also a bit of a mind spinsel. I love these flowers. I really enjoy these circles. I started with these circles as a bit of an exercise, just to play with colour. This is gouache and watercolour paper. And this is a really old sort of postcard that I made a long time ago. So sometimes I paint on the other side when I want to practice a little bit. It's a bit of a shame I have these lines there, but it is what it is. I actually really like this. I might use a digital to make a pattern out of. So this, I think you might have seen this on Instagram. This was just a doodle I made in marker. No sketching. I love hedgehogs. And I was I think it looks really cute. I'm quite happy with how this came out. And there is something on the other side, a really old wet on wet painting. This is the most recent one. This I think I made in the same day. I think it's very cute. This is definitely a style, sort of that loose, sketchy style is something that I want to explore much more. When I say sketchy style, I mean without sketching, just doing what I want to do in the moment. So I really want to create some more illustrations with writing in it. So this says play, not production today, which I think is a good motto. Sometimes you just want to create something for fun or have a bit of playtime. Not everything always has to be productive or has to be something that you want to sell or something for business, or sometimes it's good to just have a bit of fun, which I had in the moment here. Just this little puppy, no sketching. And you can see my lettering. I'm not the greatest letterer, it's always a bit wonky, but I sort of like it. This was an attempt to draw this in your style, which I never finished. I wasn't very happy with it, so I put it aside. The piece of paper is a little bit too small. It's part of a misprint, so you can see my name is on here really big on the other side sometimes. I use this archival printing paper that is really lovely for my art prints, but sometimes you have a misprint, and I find it a bit of a waste to throw the paper away because it's really lovely to paint or to draw on, so I just use the other sides for doodling. Nothing wrong with that, right? It's not to sell to anyone, so it's okay to use it to draw on. Another marker drawing. I love drawing a marker. It's a little dashhound. Which the colours are very vibrant. That's what I like about marker, the vibrancy of the colours. Some more flowers. I really want to paint more flowers, or add more flowers to the backgrounds of my drawings. Sometimes you just need to practice a little bit. And this is in gouache, and I really try to paint in gouache and keep the colours really vibrant. Sometimes the colours become a bit muted when you mix them up together. I think the beauty of gouache is that really vibrancy, so it's something that I'm practicing on, to mix the colours together and still keep it really, really vibrant. And I quite like how this flower here almost looks a bit like a shadow. I like it. I like most of my work, to be honest. I don't know why. Some people are really critical, like they criticize their own work, but I tend to be really happy with what I make, so I guess it's quite a nice thing. This was another flower doodle. I made this into a pattern. I have not shared it on Instagram yet, but I think it looks really cool, and I will share it at some point soon. So not everything always goes with the look of the grid, so sometimes it goes directly in my portfolio instead of being shared on Instagram. More flowers. I saw this vase somewhere come by, and I decided to paint it. It's sort of made up. This is not from a reference, but from just the inspiration of the vase. I think I saw it in a charity shop. So I wish I bought it now, but you can't always buy everything. More floral doodles. I think this one was up like this originally. I really like adding paint to wet paint and see what happens and create these splashes and marks. A bit of unpredictability is what I'm looking for. This turtle was from a live session that I did with my community, where we were drawing in marker and colour pencil, which is a combination of materials that just works really wonderful together. And yeah, this was the result of it. I really loved seeing everyone's creations as well. They were really beautiful. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I really like it, so I'll keep it. Some more lettering, love and kindness. I tried it twice. I was not very happy with it, never used it for anything, but I love the concept of love and kindness. It's a concept really familiar to people who might be Buddhist or who do meditation. Love and kindness is a concept of how you should view the world, how you should look at yourself, how you approach others around you. When you use love and kindness sort of in your way of interacting with the world, I feel like the world becomes a bit more beautiful. So it's something that I try and do myself. This was not a quick doodle, no reference, and I really loved it. It took me a long time to put all those little squares on this suit. Once I started, I regretted it a little bit because it took ages. That's okay. I sort of feel like I should make this into a print. It's a little bit small. Maybe I'll use it as an example for a bigger illustration. It also made me want sort of an ABC, so if you could make this into the letter A, you could do like a yoga ABC. Got so many ideas. This very cool girl is walking around with her mobile phone and her umbrella, and I really liked it. This is a style, this line drawing is also a style that I want to explore more. Again, using my ink pen. You can see I love the texture, it's a little bit gritty. It's a really fun way of doing quick drawings. Another woman, I wanted to draw a person a little bit bigger. I feel like often in my illustrations my women are very skinny, and I think often on Instagram as well you see a lot of sort of very slim women, like illustrations of very slim people, and I like to you know, have a bit more realistic body types sometimes and change things up a little bit. So I decided to make this woman, and she is baking a bread, so she's holding this dough roller, I don't know how you call it in English, and a bread here as well. This is just my imagination. This is for another Draw This in Your Style, and I have not posted it yet. Let me quickly check if I can find whose it was. I saved it here somewhere. Of course, it was the Draw This in Your Style from Jess Miller, and I will still have to post this. I will do so maybe today. I think she came out quite cute, very different from the original. I usually just use the original illustration as like really an example, just look at it quickly and then just make my own version of it without copying it too much. This was a little postcard. I made the drawing first, then I had some space, so I decided to write underneath, "You and I are different, but I love you all the same." I'm not sure what inspired me to write that in the moment, but I do think it is good to keep in mind that it's okay to be different. You don't have to completely agree with the people that you have around you. You don't have to be all the same, do we? This person is working on a sewing machine. Another drawing without any sketches. You can see, because I don't make a sketch, the drawing cannot be perfect. There's always going to be proportions that are a little bit off. Same to this one. They're sitting on the floor and painting, because it is sort of a quick in the moment sketch. Proportions are a little bit off. That's okay, I find that the more charming. Try not to too much of a perfectionist. Same with this one, I feel like the size of the legs, they're not realistic. That's okay. Doesn't have to be. Another ink drawing. Another bouquet. Maybe I'll slip this in as a little gift when someone buys a print. The other side has a jelly fish on it. It almost feels like I made a set of postcards because of the size of these drawings. I'm not sure if this is entirely clear, but I drew this as a person, like a little child, sort of riding along on a manta ray. Manta rays are so big, and I sort of imagine if you could swim really well, you could hold on to them and float through the water. You can really see that that was my intention. I like the idea of it. A polar bear. Funky polar bear, what can I say more? This was also for a live session, drawing in markers. Well, actually, this was a class from someone else that I joined in Mark, so I used my Posca pens for this. I had a lot of fun doing it. Sometimes I like doing other people's classes, so I can be a student again and not always teach. It's just a little reminder. Or compare ourselves to others sometimes, and it's really good not to do that and just focus on what we like to do ourselves. So she's saying, I wish I could do that. And this person's saying, that painting is so much better than mine. Everyone has their own style and their own way of doing things, right? This was from the live session. A little closer, sharp. The exercise was to make sketches without lifting your pen off or your pencil off the paper. So just make a continuous line and use that to make your sketch, which is a lot of fun. The other side is empty. And this was the drawing that we made in that class, based on objects that you'd like to take with you on a picnic. This was a manta ray, not a ray. I often draw things in pairs, or when I have like a certain animal or object that I like in a certain time, then it comes back a lot as well. This is a really old one, I don't know what it's doing in here. It was me practicing clouds. I had this on the wall for ages, just for fun. But I made this years ago. It must be 5 years old or something. I don't know what it's doing in this pile. Same with this one, this doodle. Really old. Must be 6 years old or something. I don't know. Marker and color pencil. Such a great combination. More flowers. I love when your paint is wet and you drop in a little bit of a different color and see what happens. Sometimes the most amazing things happen. This little illustration reminds me a little bit of Alice in Wonderland. I think it's the White Rabbit that does that. I had a lot of fun painting this. Another ink sketch, Chill as an alpaca. Just had a little fun with this. This was my first alpaca, which I wasn't very happy with, and then I decided to do it again on the other side. Sometimes I need 2 attempts. Little Bambi, lots of small steps get you very far indeed. We don't have to all master our crafts all at once. Sometimes it's okay to take small steps and take your time. Everyone works at a different pace. I don't know if I make that for other people or just to remind myself sometimes. Another floral doodle. This was a sketch that was potentially for a commission, never got used. And on the other side I painted this, which I used for a welcome baby card. This is an old painting from a class. So, make sure I'm sure. From a painting class. I'm pretty sure you can watch this back on my website. I've painted a few flamingos over the last few years, and I think all of them are available as classes on my website. And this is a landscape. I often paint on both sides of the paper, because my paper is thick enough, why not? Ah, this one's empty. Put that aside. And this one as well, they were for a potential commission. And I really enjoyed making these. I have learned a lot, and I actually discovered some elements that I want to carry forward in my style going forward. So these are a little bit of a bonus. There we go. It's a really nice way to sort my pile of drawings as well at the same time. So as you can see, I have been sketching quite a lot. Most of this is from the last month actually. So a lot of it is quite recent. I often sketch on loose bits of paper and then put them in a box after a while. Put them in the drawer and then once in a while empty the drawer and put everything in a box. And yeah, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you so much for being along for this sketchbook tour and watching this video all the way till the end. I hope you enjoyed it and that you got some inspiration to maybe do some sketches yourself. The great thing about working on loose paper is that if you mess up, you don't have to worry too much about ruining the look of your sketchbook or the aesthetic of your sketchbook. And this is one of the reasons I like it so much, because it gives me much more freedom to experiment. I think a sketchbook is great and it's a really nice way of collecting all your artwork together in one place, or if you travel somewhere that you have a really lovely place to put your art. You have to keep it all together and to work in, but it's definitely not the only way of making art. There's so many different ways and everything works, every method works different for someone else. Don't feel like you have to keep a sketchbook. You can draw on any type of paper that you want. I saw this video the other day of someone who loved drawing on cardboard, and they used the cardboard boxes from cereal, the inside, to make lots of art on. That works as well. There's a valid method for everyone. So yeah, make sure you let me know underneath, how do you like to create art, because I really like to know. And yeah, I'll see you around next time. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you soon.